Ever feel like the sky's kinda upside down? It sounds weird, I know, but sometimes the atmosphere literally flips its own script. It creates this world where things that are miles away sound crystal clear, and the air itself just feels heavy. So let's get right into it and break down what's happening inside a temperature inversion.
You know, it all starts with these really subtle clues. A weird stillness in the air, that feeling that you can hear things you shouldn't be able to, and this is the crazy part, it is not in your head. It's the signature of a massive, invisible event unfolding right around you.
All right, so what exactly is this thing? Well, a temperature inversion is when the atmosphere just decides to break its own rules. Normally, it gets colder the higher you go, right? But here, a layer of warm air sits on top of a cooler layer of air down by the ground. And that warm air, it acts like a lid on a pot, sealing everything, and I mean everything underneath it.
Yeah, and this visual really nails the difference. On a normal day, the atmosphere is always churning, kind of like a pot of soup on a low simmer. Warm air rises, taking moisture and pollutants up and away. But in an inverted sky, nope. The whole process just gets shut down. That cool air is stuck. It can't get past that warm lid, so everything just sits there. It stagnates.
Okay, so what's it actually like to be standing inside one of these things? Let's talk about what it does to your senses, what you see and what you hear.
First up, you're probably going to notice the fog. That cool air that's trapped down here can't hold a lot of moisture, so that moisture condenses into this really thick, soupy fog that just hangs around, scattering the light and making everything look dim. And we're not talking about your typical morning mist that burns off. This stuff can stick around all day, because it's literally got nowhere to go.
And then there's the sound. And this is where it gets really weird. All of a sudden, things that are far away sound like they're right next to you. It's an effect called sound channeling, and it's honestly one of the strangest things you can experience during an inversion. And here's why that happens. That lid of warm air, it doesn't just trap air, it basically creates a sound tunnel. See, sound waves that would normally travel up and fade away get bounced right back down towards the ground. This actually amplifies them, letting you hear things from miles and miles away with incredible clarity.
But look, this isn't just about weird fog and sounds. It gets much more serious. That same atmospheric lid, well, it creates a huge problem. It turns the very air we breathe into an invisible trap.
Think about all the stuff that comes out of our cars, our homes, our factories, soot, chemicals, all that nasty particulate matter. Usually it spreads out and goes up into the atmosphere. But during an inversion, it gets pinned down right at street level, right where we're all trying to breathe.
And that's the real health risk here. The air basically turns into this stagnant chemical soup. This buildup is what gives us that really nasty, thick smog, and it can cause serious breathing problems, especially for kids or the elderly. I mean, the air quality can go from bad to dangerous, fast.
You know, where you live plays a huge part in this too. Cities that are built in valleys or basins, they get the worst of it. The mountains and hills around them act like the walls of a bowl, helping to keep that cold, dirty air locked in place. It just makes the whole problem that much more frequent and severe.
Okay, so we've covered what an inversion is and why it's a big deal. But how do these air lids even form in the first place? Well, it turns out there are a few different ways this can happen.
Right, so this table lays out the three main types. First, you've got radiational inversions. These are the most common. They happen on clear, calm nights when the ground gets cold really fast and chills the air right above it. That's your classic morning fog that thankfully usually disappears by the afternoon. Then things get more serious with subsidence inversions. These are the stubborn ones, caused by big, high-pressure systems, and they can trap haze for days, sometimes even weeks. And last, there are frontal inversions. This is when a warm front slides over a cold one, and that can give us some really nasty winter weather, like freezing rain.
But the story doesn't end with just local weather or bad air. The impact of these things is way bigger than you might think. It's actually pretty surprising how far-reaching the effects are.
This is one of the coolest visuals of an inversion, for sure. You can literally climb out of the bad weather. Imagine being stuck in a cold, foggy valley all day. But if you just drive up a nearby mountain, you can break through into this beautiful, warm, sunny day, looking down on a sea of clouds. It's a tale of two completely different worlds, separated by just a few hundred feet of altitude.
And the effects just get weirder and more diverse. Biologically, insects get all slow and lethargic in the cold, trapped air. Technology?
Radio waves get bent, which can mess with communications and cause flight delays. For farming, these things can create killer frost pockets that wipe out crops. And for weather, an inversion is a real wild card. It can stop rain from falling, or it can act like a pressure cooker, bottling up all this energy until the lid finally breaks and unleashes massive thunderstorms.
So when you really think about it, an inversion is so much more than just a weather pattern. It's like the atmosphere completely shifts gears and starts operating under a different set of rules. It's this quiet, strange, but incredibly powerful state of being where everything is temporarily suspended.
It's a really powerful reminder that there are these huge, invisible structures all around us, shaping our world in ways we don't even notice most of the time. And it kind of makes you wonder, right? What other hidden dynamics are at play right outside our window that we're completely missing?